peace, presence, and purpose. Find it all at Orange Door Spaces. For wellness experts and writers alike, visit Orange Door Spaces today. Welcome to a very special episode of South Bay Buzz, the podcast. I am your host, Megan Libri, and I'm solo today. A little unexpected, but I am leaning into this moment very uncomfortably, if I'm being completely honest. I had a choice. I could either not record because my amazing guest had a child who was sick today, or I could lean into my discomfort and record an episode that I had put on my list of wanting to do at some point. This was an idea that had been on my mind and on my heart, and a lot of my friends and other small business owners had encouraged me to do. Why I am uncomfortable and why I had hesitated on doing this is I showcase small businesses and events and other people, and I'm oftentimes behind the camera, or I'm leading a conversation or guiding a conversation. And so the focus is not squarely on me. And I feel really nervous at the fact that it's on me. The timing of my guest not being able to come today and this topic of wanting to do some reflection on the podcast so far and what it's been like could not have come at a more serendipitous time. I just went through this brand Kickstarter process with Joe Delgado from Creative Inca. It really helped me understand exactly who I am, what I'm doing, why it's important. It helped me define my values, my mission, my vision, and I feel more confident and more grounded. I want to talk a little bit about the podcast and a little bit about South Bay Buzz more openly. I've put a lot of emphasis on the community and the connections and all that, because that's just how I've always seen myself, like as a platform for lifting up others and as a voice for other people. I really landed on this idea of being a storyteller or an ambassador of the South Bay, and that South Bay Buzz is my platform for doing that. Working with Joe and then joining this mamapreneur mastermind group that meets once a month, led by my friends Emily and Natalie, has helped me understand that while it is wonderful and great and good to do the work that I'm doing, it's also okay and important to talk about my heart and my why and my vision for why I'm doing what I'm doing. Opening my heart and opening my perspective has been very helpful. It's been like, okay, that can still be true, and I'm not going to squarely put myself in the center of these stories. However, now that I am a small business and I did take that leap, I do get to have these conversations, and I do have a unique lens now, which is pretty cool. I am a resource because I know a lot of people and I can make connections and help people feel part of the community. Let's talk about this podcast dream. When I meet new business owners or go to my local favorites, or I'm at a Sun and Sea Collective pop-up market and I'm seeing a vendor that I've continued to have a relationship with, ultimately we start to get into conversations, and there's so many things I want to share with folks about a specific store or an event. And you're so confined to the limits of what you can do on social media. One, you are playing the social media game, which is the algorithm is always changing. So a podcast would give me a little bit more of long form, and I could bring these conversations and people to life in a way that allows the invited guests to share their story in their words, and I can help facilitate and guide the conversation. I love people. A gift that I have had since I was little is helping people feel safe, warm, and loved. And that has always been my goal, especially with this podcast. The biggest barrier of entry for me was space. For me, my creative energy, I need to be usually in a different area that's not my house in order for the juices to really flow. If you can go back and listen to the Orange Door Spaces episode, you can hear the whole story. But essentially, when Orange Door opened late in 2024, they reached out to me and were like, "Hey, Megan, come on by. We'd love for you to see the space, check it out." And when they mentioned that they had 2 recording spaces and then they had this conference room that you could use for recording, and they had recording equipment and lights and mics and all these things, we entered into a partnership where they're allowing me to use the space for a couple of hours each week to record an episode. And then I do a pre-roll ad and a mid-roll ad, and then I'm tagging them and helping promote them. This has been amazing. And it's just me. So I have learned a lot, and working with Justin and Eliza here at Orange Door Spaces, they've learned a lot as well. Just wanted to be like really transparent of what it takes to do this. Part of making South Bay Buzz an official business was eventually one day I can have help with editing and some of these components, because it is a lot right now. I'm not going to lie. Your health, your peace, your space to grow. Orange Door Spaces is designed for thinkers, healers, and writers, offering peaceful studios, bright lounges, and private rooms where inspiration flows. Whether you're journaling your next book or leading a breathwork session, Orange Door Spaces has the space for your mind and message. Start your wellness journey and visit Orange Door Spaces today. Some fun things. One, anytime that I'm like, oh, this isn't as professional as it could be, or I'm not in like a fancy studio or whatever, I always ground myself in this little chair of mine that I'm sitting in. And I look at this microphone stand and I'm like, but Megan, you're doing it. Like, you are doing the thing. You have manifested this moment. You wanted to start a podcast. You wanted to bring in the people who motivate you and inspire you, who you've loved working with, and telling their stories and giving them a platform to share their stories, to hopefully encourage people to think about where they're shopping, what they're supporting, to then put money back into the community, which then allows, ideally, all of us to thrive and for our community to thrive, or events to thrive through highs and lows. That is what is the joy of it. And then it helps everything else fade away a little bit. I also remind myself that the joy too is the fact that I'm not doing it alone when I'm here. I've got Justin and Eliza, who are the founders of Orange Door Spaces. I had previous experience in editing audio before. What I didn't have any experience in was editing video. I had put all these expectations on myself of what it should be or what it should look like, because I'm a massive consumer of podcasts. And I really set the bar really high for myself. You know, my sweet husband was like, "Why are you going to bed at like 2 a.m?" I was wanting it to look a certain way. And then I was being really self-critical. And then there were things I didn't think about ahead of time. Oh my gosh, people, there's so much that you just don't even like process or know unless you start to do this. I have to now break it up, because you just cannot do all these things at once. If there's anything that I've learned, is you don't need to over edit it. It's fine. Put it out there. It's good. And then thinking about a way to do a YouTube description that will also work for Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever it's going to go, getting that. Then thinking if you're going to do cover art for the specific episode, then it's about using the social media clip My hope too is the people that come on the podcast that they can use this video and put it on their websites. There's a lot of excitement and attention that was on it when I announced the trailer. And then for Little Veggery, because it was the first episode, it's been up and down with listenership or viewership. And yeah, that part is hard because you're putting a lot of work into it. And then you're like, is anyone out there? Is anyone listening? And I think if there's anything that I would do or change, it would be having somebody to just the production part on the back end. That's been the hardest personally. It's not been hard to bring in people right now. It's invitation by invitation. I have made such great relationships in these last 5 years plus. I've been back in the South Bay for 10 years. And so the scheduling has not been hard. Orange Shore Spaces makes it super easy. And it just brings me incredible joy. And I've honestly loved it. For my husband or for my friends, probably they're like, oh my gosh, is this worth like losing sleep over? And for me, it is, because I know it's going to continue to grow. And these conversations are meaningful, and that to the people that have been listening here and there or have been listening consistently, your feedback is so amazing and so important. And when I sit in this chair and I have these conversations with whoever's sitting next to me, I can 100% tell you that I feel so fulfilled, so nourished, and like I'm floating on air. I truly feel like I am meant to be doing what I'm doing. I really like being, whether you want to call it an ambassador or a storyteller or your small biz, local supporter, best friend, whatever you want to call me, I feel so thankful to be someone who can celebrate and uplift and encourage people, because goodness, we need it. You know, I used to tell my mom and my dad, I wish I could just talk to people all day. I wish I could hug people all day. If I could be a professional cheerleader for people, I would do it. And I honestly feel like I get to do it in this role as like the founder and storyteller of South Bay Buzz. If there's topics that you want me to discuss, or if you want to nominate a small business to be featured on social media, please let me know. For right now, the podcast is simply going to be folks that I have relationships and worked with. I want this podcast to flow from a place of authenticity and integrity and connection. Eventually, if it grows, I can start to have more people as well, but I would need additional support, and I financially don't have that right now. We'll put it on the big dreams. We're going to come from a mindset of growth and abundance and not scarcity, but I also have to create boundaries for myself. Thank you so much.